What is up, ladies and gents? It's your boy Lou Streets back with some more LSV, and as you guys know, Tekken 8 has launched today, and I am here with a quick crash course to shorten up your learning curve, whether you're refreshing yourself or you're new to Tekken in general. Now, before we get started, if you want to see more videos like this in order to get better at the game, make sure you hit the like button for me and of course subscribe. Let's get into it. So first things first, let's map out your controller to your liking. When it comes to the buttons, you can leave most of this normal. So we have left punch, left kick, right kick. And you'll hear this term referred to as 1, 2, 3, 4 if you're learning Tekken online or in YouTube. So what they mean by this is really simple. If you go do button check inputs and you press left punch, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Left punch, left kick, right kick. The reason for this is so people won't get confused into what console you're referring to. So instead of saying X or square, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just burn that in your brain. 1, 2, 3, 4. So when it comes to a throw, as you see, we have our first throw, which is 1 and 3, which is the 2 left buttons, and then we have 2 and 4, which is the 2 right buttons. There are also combination buttons, but you can map them to your triggers and bumpers. So for example, I have left punch and right punch mapped out to right trigger. But if you look when I do a button check, what do you see? You see 1 and 2 flashing. Same thing with my left trigger. If I do a button check, you see 3 and 4 flashing. There's a reason for this. Also, you want to map out your combo buttons to be on your bumpers because it makes it simpler. So for instance, we have 1 and 4, which is on the opposite sides of the controller. So instead of just pressing 1 and 4 with my fingers, if I do a button check input, 1 and 4 right here. Now the last button that we have is your heat smash, and we'll go into the properties of that. But your heat burst, your heat smash, they're all done with this same button right here. And then also you have your rage art, which is empty, but that's because you can use that to do down, forward, and your right trigger. So if you have that mapped out to 1 and 2, you want to press those 2 buttons manually. Rage art is down, forward. So you see I'm holding on through right now, down, forward, and 1 and 2. That's how you do your rage art. Now what's important about the combination buttons when it comes to how you map out your left trigger, your right trigger, and your left bumper is because they're character specific. So let's talk about picking your character. I'll play Law, so the reason I have it mapped to these particular buttons is because these are moves for Law. But you might want to set this to something different, and you see you have other options here like right punch and left kick. You have 3 button combinations as well, so that's going to be based on your character. So let's talk about picking your character. Now when it comes to character selection, I would just suggest pick who you think looks cool. Like me, I love Bruce Lee style characters, so naturally I picked Martial Law because he's the reincarnation of Bruce Lee. But then again, there is also Lee, who plays exactly like Law, but he's a lot more sophisticated and technical, so he's actually a little bit harder to play. If you enjoy speed, maybe Lars Alexanderson with his dash attacks that goes into some pretty swaggy combos. Or maybe speed isn't your thing, and you want a little more power with your approach. In that case, the perfect character would be Paul Phoenix because he has a ton of armored attacks and a lot of block stun on his strings, so it seems like he's always safe. The same thing can be applied to Feng Wei, who has a lot of range and pushback as well, so these 2 characters fit much of a different style than Law or Lee would. Or maybe you're the type of player that likes to use your opponent's aggression against them. In that case, the perfect characters would be Asuka and Leroy because they have some really cool setups where you can almost make your opponent afraid to press a button because of their ability to parry and counterattack. The next group of characters, I'm going to use the word stance, although I don't know if that's the proper classification, but the reason I say this is because with Steve, he can kind of sway into attacks, so that makes me think of a stance-like character, but he can sway into attacks, have you hesitant to press a button because you can get countered, and Harang has those same properties because he feints his kicks, so sometimes you don't know if the kick is really coming or not, and it makes you a little bit hesitant, which works out in his favor. I want to say that those are stance-like characters. I don't know if that's the proper categorizing, but that's kind of the approach that they take when it comes to their offense. And last but not least, we still have our grapple characters. Now, of course, that is King. If you guys miss Marduk from Tekken 7, then maybe King is a healthy adjustment because his buttons are still great and he has countless throw variations. If you can get those mastered, they can become very hard to tech and recognize. And there are so many more characters that I didn't mention that have their own original styles, such as Jin and Kazuya, who are main characters in the storyline. But the overall point is find a character that you think looks cool, try to master his moveset, and just enjoy a playstyle that suits you as you explore explore the roster. That's how I became a Law main. I will branch out in this game, but overall Law was the first one that I wanted to pick, and I fell in love with him, so try to do the same when you look for your character in Tekken 8. Now the next place that you want to visit is the arcade quest mode, and this is for great reason. There are a ton of resources to help you understand Tekken 8 in much more detail, and it's a great place for beginners to learn while not feeling overwhelmed. So let's get into why that is. So in this mode, you control your avatar and you try to make your impression on the biggest tournament of Tekken 8, which is the Tekken World Tour. You have a character named Max that assists you in this quest by providing you with resources and showing you different tutorials as you go from arcade to arcade, challenging other players to improve your skills. And one of the best ways to improve your skills is speaking to Max and checking out the tutorial menu. As you can see, I have it pulled up right here. We have basic controls. We have controls about heat and rage. What is rage art and what is heat burst and smash? So let's go into the basic controls right quick. Now the main tutorials that you will encounter in Tekken is your basic controls, understanding how your combos work, how does the rage art work, and how does the heat mechanic work. So I'm just looking at the basic controls, and as we mentioned earlier, standing 1, left punch, standing 2, right punch, 3, left kick, 4, right kick, put the 2 buttons together on the right, you get a throw. So pretty much it's just getting familiar with what your character does, looking over his command list and familiarizing yourself with what you're capable of. It will feel overwhelming at first because the list is very large. However, over time, this will feel a lot more relaxing. You gotta just get used to it, and that just comes with practice like any new game. Now, although you need to learn your buttons and it's gonna take some time, what's really cool about Tekken 8 is they actually teach you small combos. Of course, there are bigger ones that are more advanced, but they'll teach you small combos just to start in strings. So looking at this, I don't play Jin, but I can see really clearly 1, 2, 4 is a string. So we press it, look, and just like that, we understand the string. I don't play Jin. I've got to figure out on my own. The game is willing to teach it to me. The same thing with an input command or a directional command. F4, now we got another input right there. So just make sure that you familiarize yourself with this menu so you can understand what your character does. But the thing is, you don't got to search for it on your own because the game is willing to help. Now, I'm sure most of you guys know this, but in fighting games, you have to block attacks. Tekken will teach you how to do so with mid attacks and low attacks as well. I'm not holding back, so Jin is getting hit. But if I hold back, the tutorial is complete because I did it. Same thing with low blocking. If I don't press a button, I'll get hit. But if I press down and back, now we're blocking the attacks, and that's how the tutorial works. So just go through all of this stuff. It's going to teach you about different mechanics in the game. Obviously, I'm not going to go through every single one, just the important ones, but make sure you familiarize yourself with this as well. So one of the things new to Tekken 8 is the heat system. This wasn't in Tekken 7. And so what it is, if you take a look at the blue bar up top, you see there's a meter. If I was to press the right bumper, Jin's state will change into a blue flame-like aura. That is called the heat burst. And when you use it, you can either dash or smash afterward, and it goes away. So let's take a look. As you see, the heat is active, and now that blue bar is flaming, and it's also going to deplete over time. Now, when you have heat active, you get access to a few different properties. Some of your regular move properties will change. You will also have a dash attack that will spend your heat, but also we have another attack called the heat smash. So if you press the right bumper again during heat activation, you get this. And it's different for every character, but you see once it's complete, the blue bar is gone, so now you're no longer in the heat state. One thing to keep in mind, heat is meant to reward aggression, so when you're in a heat state and you attack, you do chip damage on block. Take a look at Paul's health as he swings. You see it's going lower and lower. So this actually only happens when you're in a heat state, so make sure to be aware of that when you're trying to close out a round. So the last mechanic that we need to recover in reference to heat is what's called a heat engager, and what it is a move that will automatically put you in a heat state. Or if you are already in heat, you can extend the combo, but it will deplete the bar. Let's see what it looks like. That dash up right there, you see that's a heat engager, but you see it depletes my bar. One more time, you see it looks like that. Now we can also extend combos with this. This is how it will look. And that is what a heat engager is. So that pretty much wraps up the heat mechanic. Understand it's a very valuable tool for aggression to help you close out rounds and also extend combos, but make sure that you know which moves activated for your character. That way you don't use it accidentally. It's a great tool, but you do get it every round, so you don't have to be afraid to pop it. Now the next thing that you need to know, and it seems like every game has this, but it's your big finishing move. In this case, it's called a rage art. So the way that you use it is down, forward, 1, 2. and it'll pretty much go into this big cinematic attack that does massive damage. Now it does have armor, but if you pop it raw and it gets blocked, you will be negative and you will get destroyed. So use it wisely. Me, I tend to try to use it during combos like this. And it stay like that or something of this nature, you know? It's much better to use in a combo. It will scale a little bit, but at the same time, it'll be more effective that way instead of trying to just do it raw. So that's what a rage drive is. So last but not least, let's talk the thing that I'm sure all you guys are excited about, and that is combos, as most people are in all fighting games, right? So in Tekken 8, there's a lot of variety. However, one thing holds true. You want to always try to extend into a tornado move. And what is a tornado move? Let's show you the icon. A tornado move is a move for easy follow-ups against airborne opponents. So what that means is when an opponent spins on his head like this, right there, that's a tornado move. The way you can tell is they always land on top of their neck and you can extend combos. The way you can find this in your move list is if you go to your move list and you look around, you see the red icon right there, that's a tornado move. It says that during heat, if we press 1+2, we'll get a spinning attack for a tornado move, right? So this is what it looks like. So I'm gonna step back, I'm gonna pop heat, I'm gonna do 1+2, and you see he landed on his neck, so we can extend that, right? It looks just like this. Back 2-1, right there, tornado move. Back 2-3-4, tornado move. As you see, whenever they pop in the air, and you can extend it, like that, tornado move right there. So the main thing that you want to do is always set up a combo where you put somebody in the air, then use a tornado for extension, so then you get something that looks like this. Full combo right there, and that's because we extended with a tornado move. So it's a lot of different varieties and ways for you to do that. I'm not going to show you all of those. You're going to have to find those on your own, but for the most part, that's how you set up a combo in Tekken. And pretty much that is what makes the difference between winning a match and losing a match, is optimizing your damage. Now there's one more thing I want to show you when it comes to attacks, and that's property changes. Now you may ask, what do I mean by a property change? So I'll show you. A property change is when you get a hit in a normal state versus a counter state. So let's look at this. My F1-2, it's a mid that pretty much bends you down, right? But let's see what happens if I put this on a counter hit. Now when I do F1-2, now that I got them in the counter hit state, when I do it now, I can extend for a combo. So now it looks something like this. Put them in a tornado state, and then we get a full combo out of that, right? So that's the difference between a property change. When you have a real counter, you need to be ready to get big damage off of it because it'll change between a normal hit. So you need to figure out what moves that you have in your arsenal that do that, and then make sure that you capitalize on them when you get those opportunities. So the very last thing that I want to show you is the low parry. It is different from Tekken 7. In the past, you could get a fully extended combo, but now you can't get tornado properties off of it, so it won't extend the same way. So I'm going to do a hook, and Law's going to kick back at me, and I'm going to do a parry. And normally that would have extended in the past because that has tornado properties, but now it doesn't anymore, so just keep that in mind. But the way that you do a low parry is hold down forward whenever somebody's gonna attack your feet. So again, down forward. I do the full combo, but it doesn't have tornado properties anymore, so keep that in mind. So with all those lessons being taught, I'm gonna wrap this video up. I hope to some extent that this helps you guys get started on Tekken 8 if you're completely new to the game. Or if you never really got a chance to play since Tekken 7, this would be a good beginning lesson for people to get started into the game. If you want to see more videos like this, hit the like and subscribe button for me. And of course, I'll be back in the future with more tutorials, more examples of how I use Law and different mechanics within the game. So until the next time, it's your boy Lou Streets. I am out. Peace. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Sucks. Uh-huh.